Welcome to the Refurbishment Mastery podcast with me, Martin Rapley. If you're a property investor who is worried about paying too much for your next property, concerned that you don't know how to manage a refurb, or scared that you will be ripped off by a builder, then this is for you. In this podcast, I share over 30 years of experience of managing refurbishments and conversions to help you make more profit, save your time, and ultimately enjoy the process. On with the podcast. If you're doing refurbishments or conversions, here's something you really need to know. And that is that most projects don't go sideways because you're lazy. They often go sideways because of some bad decisions. Maybe the wrong builder, the wrong scope, the wrong contract, the wrong budget assumptions. So if you've got profit leakage, decision fatigue, or you feel like you're carrying the whole project in your own hand, then you don't necessarily need to do more work. What you potentially need is to make better decisions. So welcome back to this episode of the podcast, in which I'm going to explain a role of a person that some of you may not ever have heard of before. And even if you have heard of them, maybe not in the context of your business as it is at the moment. And that is the role of a non-executive advisor. By the end of this episode, hopefully you'll know what that is, what it isn't, and most importantly, the benefits that you should actually feel when you've got the right person in your corner to look after you whilst you're running your refurbishments and conversions. So what is a non-executive advisor? It is, you'll hear it referred to and shortened as sometimes a non-exec advisor, but you'll frequently also hear it shortened to just the initials NEA. And an NEA is an experienced person who supports you with your business by providing guidance, challenging you, and giving you an alternative perspective on your business. They're non-executive because they're not actually running your business on a day-to-day basis. They're not your project manager, they're not your quantity surveyor, they're nothing to do with the builder. Their job is simply to improve the quality of your decisions early enough so that ultimately it saves you money. So in a little bit more meat on the bone there, a good non-executive director will, for instance, challenge your budget and your program assumptions. Now, if in that challenging everything is good, then that means at least you've had a third-party person give you reassurance that what you were thinking is right. But if you've made some if you've got some misunderstandings, if you've not got clarity on what you're doing, that third party will help you focus a lot more into those missing places. The NEA will pressure test your scope, make sure it's not a mess, make sure that it looks right for the builders to price. They'll certainly help you spot risk that you might have overlooked. They'll help you just prioritize your current project, future projects, other things you want to do in your business. And they'll also, to a certain extent, hold you accountable for the outcomes and the deadlines and targets that you've actually set yourself. So you might see that as a little bit more of a coaching role, but there is a crossover here as well. And sometimes, and this isn't always guaranteed, but sometimes, and it is a bit of a bonus, they'll also open doors for you because they will potentially have other contacts within the industry that they can connect you with when and as appropriate. So there's kind of 5 benefits from having a non-executive advisor. I'll just go through those 5 benefits to help you understand a lot more about what you're getting effectively if you do decide to take on a non-executive advisor for your project for your well for your business rather than your projects. It would be a business decision to make. So the first thing is that NEA will give you a lot more clarity. They'll stop you guessing. They'll they'll get decisions out of your head that much quicker because you'll have someone else that you can discuss things with to help you actually make decisions at the end of the day. And I'm sure that there's a number of decisions that perhaps you're struggling to make because you've got no one to actually talk to help you make the right decision. So it's just rattling around in your head, and it's just taking up headspace really. Um, NEAs will also give you clarity because they'll give you kind of a faster answer to the issues or steer you give you better clarity around the potential solutions to an issue because they're going to bring experience from many years of doing this. And then ultimately, that will just help you look at your priorities better and exercise or execute what you're doing in a much more logical fashion. So the key thing here with this clarity is that you're not debating and considering paint colours while the scope of work is still unclear. You can see that an NEA will help you focus on what's relevant at the time. Yes, let's talk about paint colours, but they're not critical in the very early days. They'll make sure that you're not arguing about a contract when you actually haven't got clarity on the cost of the works. Again, let's get the contract right, but let's make sure that we've got clarity on the costings first. So they'll streamline your management and your decision making, so that ultimately, following a call or a meeting with them, you should feel calmer, have more clarity, and ultimately be more decisive as to where you're going forward. So then the second benefit is that you will, as a result of that, have more control of your project because the NEA will help you understand the risks. You can alleviate those risks in the right order, in the right, based upon which is the highest risk. And you know that you're focusing your time on the most important things at any one stage. And NEA will test your assumptions and give you more clarity based upon their experience to help you understand the different options to any particular issue that happens at any particular time. Builders, as we know, will generally give you the cheapest solution to anything. And NEA will help you understand all of the different options, all of the different pros and cons, so that you can make the right decision. And that leads you to making better commercial decisions, and commercial decisions generally affect the finance of a project, maybe around procurement, contracts, variations, cash flow management, and things like that. So ultimately, you start to become aware of some of the kind of more hidden costs and things that drive cost up if you're not careful, things that are perhaps a bit hidden, perhaps things that are a little bit more complex, structural works, fire strategy, soundproofing, things like that that can drive the cost up. And there's a lot of property investors I speak to that just aren't aware of those kind of cost drivers because they've got no one to explain it to them. So, ultimately, have more control of your project because you've got someone just giving you more knowledge, and you should, as a result, avoid those kind of "oh my word, how did that happen" kind of scenario, because the experts see what causes those surprise moments and will help you head them off before they even come about. Benefit number three is what you're going to see from the benefit, the effect of one and two is that you're going to see that your capacity starts to improve. You're going to get yourself into a better operating rhythm. You're going to be less scattergun, and because you're more focused. Um, and you're going to hopefully be in a position where you can delegate more things out with better clarity. And anything that you are involved with, you're going to be able to see it through that much faster because you'll have a better route map, a better plan for how you are actually going to deliver anything out. So ultimately, you're not going to be reacting to things on a day-to-day crisis type basis. You should be running to a plan, and what you'll find is that everything you're doing just gets cleaner and tidier, and you're not tearing about here, there, and everywhere else. So, of course, now we've got better use of our time. What could we do with that additional time? Is it building the business further, going to look for further deals, working with other partners? Is it working on another business, allowing you time to work on another business? Or are you just looking at taking some time off and spending it with more time with the family or something like that? So this is where this clarity, but by sorting out the clarity and getting control of things, you'll suddenly find that you've got more capacity. The fourth benefit is that the quality of your decisions will get better and better. And this is a long-term benefit. This is effectively saying that if you get your processes right on your first project or on your next project, and if you've got a steer and some guidance from an expert on that next project, the value is there for the longer term because you're going to get better and better at making these decisions. You're going to get better at being in control of your project. You're going to start to learn the simpler paths, the more viable solutions to things, the consequences of the decisions you're making. And that has got a value for many, many years into the future. So your business is going to grow exponentially as a result of having guidance, um, maybe just with one project. Maybe that's all it actually needs. Just enough third party involvement on one project to help you build your business for the future. Just jumping in to make sure that you've got everything you need. Now, in a number of these podcasts, you'll have heard me talk about other property investors that I'm currently working with or have worked with in the past. And so I wanted to ensure that you can find out how you can actually work with me. And the best place to start with that is my website, www.refurbishmentmastery.com. On there, you'll find details of training courses that I run. You'll find details about my community and also how you can work with me on a one-to-one basis when you are progressed far enough down the line. And then if you're not really sure what's right for you and how we can work together, then there's a button at the top. Just hit the button at the top that says book a call. It's absolutely free. It will take you to my diary, find a slot, and we'll be able to talk in the next couple of weeks. Remember, the website is refurbishmentmastery.com. I really look forward to helping you with a successful delivery of all of your projects. Now back to the podcast. And then the fifth benefit is because of all of this, your emotional state is going to be so much more steady. More level, because as we know, projects can be stressful, but if you can eliminate a massive amount of that stress because the NEA has given you someone to talk to, they are someone to talk to, they've given you a safe environment to talk about things. Bear in mind, you're not discussing this with your joint venture partner, other members in your team, your builder, your lender, or anyone like that. You're discussing it with a safe person that you can, you know, open up to and not feel that the discussion could lead to your funding being withdrawn or further project problems on the project. So you get someone that you can talk to that just calms your brain down, and with that you're going to find that you have more energy, and yeah, ultimately your health is better, and everything just comes back out. Everything becomes that much more much smoother, and less emotionally charged, and that is a good position to be in. I'm absolutely sure. So they're the benefits of having a non-executive advisor involved with your business. I've said this already, but just to reinforce this, your non-executive advisor is not going to have any other involvement in the day-to-day delivery of your project. So they are not your project manager. They're not your quantity surveyor. They're not going to look after the builder. They're not going to necessarily even have any meetings with your builder. They're not going to be someone that just says, yes, I can do that. They're going to be someone that will be there to help you make the right decisions so that you can go and do something, or you can engage the right person to do that for you. So this doesn't want to be a bolt on to someone that you've already got. So if you've already engaged a project manager to manage your scheme, the NEA would not be a bolt on to your project manager. The NEA would sit above that, up at kind of board level with you, to help you manage that project manager better and have the right conversations with the project manager, but would help you look at your whole business from a much higher level than the project manager, whose sole role is to deliver that particular one-off project that you're working on at the moment. The key thing is that your NEA will challenge you, and you need to be prepared to be challenged and squirm a little bit to explain some of your rationale. But in doing that, you will learn from the discussions that come from it. So if you're thinking, oh, I'm not sure about an NEA, I'm not sure if they're right for me, I'm not sure if my projects are big enough, if my businesses are big enough, I would absolutely agree with you. They're not going to be right for everyone. And as with a lot of these episodes of the podcast, not everything is relevant for everyone at the time, but maybe an NEA is relevant for you now, or maybe you can see yourself growing into this position. Here's some scenarios where you may want to consider engaging a non-executive advisor. First of all, if you are looking at stepping up into bigger projects, more complex projects, either from doing small projects, quite successfully, but you really want to take a big step up next, or perhaps you've not done any projects before, but you want to start at a higher level, then an NEA is definitely going to help you get that, take that extra large step upwards. But in turn, if you've never done anything before and this is all completely and utterly alien to you, and you are just really concerned that something might go wrong, or you might miss something, or you might not say the right thing, there's nothing wrong with bringing in an NEA at a lower level, particularly if you're looking at doing more than one project at a time. So maybe smaller projects, but multiple smaller projects, you'd also benefit from having an NEA on your side. If you're taking more risk than you are comfortable with taking, an NEA will help you understand those risks. So it might just be a bit more of a complex project. It might be some technical issues in there that you don't fully understand. And an NEA will help you make those right decisions. But then you might also see that you're running projects at the moment and they might be quite successful, but perhaps you're considering that you're the bottleneck and everything's coming through you. And it just needs processes looked at. Maybe you want some support to know who to bring into your business, how to bring them in. Maybe you need some support with how to interview them, for instance, and how to put together a job role and a job spec. That's something that an NEA could help you with. So this is longer term benefits for your business if you can grow your business in the right way, but with some clarity around how you're going to grow your business and who you need to grow your business. Oh, ultimately, if you are after growing a business with steady growth without drama and without massive risk, then an NEA will help you get there in due course. Um, and just maybe as a way of an example, have a think about, say, three big decisions that you might need to make in the next 90 days, and just consider who might you run those ideas by. Or would you rather do that on your own, or would you rather have someone experienced that you could run those ideas by, get some clarity around, and might even challenge those ideas if they're not comprehensive or if they're not fully thought through, but challenge in a safe environment, away from the nitty gritty of delivering your business, delivering your project. The NEA would be working away from you. If you think they're the kind of decisions that you're stuck making, then perhaps a non-executive advisor is going to be right for you. So just hopefully there's plenty of just maybe some mind-opening thoughts in what I've just been saying there. Maybe for some of you, it's beyond where you are at the moment, but maybe for some of you listening, you might start thinking that there is a gap here in your business that could potentially be closed up. So just to wrap this up, you let me just make this a little bit more personal, as it were, and just to remind you that I have spent decades in construction. I've done quantity surveying. I've been a project manager. I've worked alongside other quantity surveyors, structural engineers, architects, lots of other consultants. I've seen what happens when scope is vague, when budgets are wrong, when contracts have got clauses missing out, when decisions haven't been made properly. So if you are thinking that you may want or you may benefit from having an NEA, then you are welcome to talk to me about that particular role. I'm fulfilling that role in one way or another for a number of businesses. I have been with some of those businesses for quite a long time, and I've been doing it in one way or another, on and off, probably now for over 10 years. So if you think that might be something you'd like to talk to me about, if you'd like better advice on risks and decision making and budgets and procurement and contract and just how you operate more a development kind of business, or maybe even a building business, a construction business as well, or you want some help hiring people, and just putting your plans into place, then by all means, you can book a call with me and I'll give you the details at the end. So just to summarize, just to remind you, an NEA is not there to run your project. They're there to help you run it better, help you make better decisions, help you have fewer surprises, help you have more continuous, steady progress. And ultimately, if you want to grow your business, and I'm not saying that everyone does want to grow their business, I'm well aware that a lot of people are quite happy just doing one project at a time. But if you do want to escalate your business, if you want to grow your business quicker, then perhaps an NEA is someone that you are you would benefit from taking on. So if you think that is someone, and there's plenty of people out there, of course, that could be your NEA. And because a lot of this is done over Zoom, that you can obviously choose someone from anywhere around the country or even abroad. But if you think you would benefit from talking to me, then you are welcome to book a call with me. And if you look in the show notes, there'll be a special link where you can book a special call with me to talk about non-executive advisor roles rather than other things. When I normally say go to the website and click on the link there. You're welcome to do that, of course, but I've put a special link in the show notes where you can click through, and we'll have a Zoom call to actually talk about this in more depth. If you've got general questions about anything I ever talk about on a podcast, or even you need a little bit more clarity about NEAs, then just follow through to the website, refurbishmentmastery.com, click on the button there and book a 20-minute call with me there. But if you're interested in non-executive advisors, there is a dedicated link in the show notes. Hopefully, my intention with this podcast episode was really just to sow some seeds that if you are struggling, there are other people out there that could help you. And perhaps you weren't aware of them. Perhaps you were, and you had heard of non-executive advisors, but you hadn't considered what they could do for your current business. Maybe you've met them and worked alongside them in other businesses, but maybe you haven't considered them in your property business. And perhaps with that additional credibility in your team, finance and the size of the projects and the way you present your business just elevates enough to skyrocket your business. I really hope that what I've gone through in today's episode does help you skyrocket your business, whether you work with me or someone else. I wish you all the best.
Thanks for listening to this podcast. Please do like, share, and leave a comment where you can. If you need any guidance or advice with anything to do with your refurbishments or conversions, then don't hesitate to reach out. You can book a free call with me by clicking on the link at the top of my website, refurbishmentmastery.com. There's other ways you can contact me in the show notes as well. I look forward to speaking to you again soon.